Yo, what's up internet? It is the end of the third day here in Expedition, and it is much later than I intended to record this video, but I got distracted playing the video game. We are currently level 88. We have no deaths still, although I feel like deaths are coming. Forbidden Rite build feels a little bit squishier, a little bit more dangerous to play than Freezing Pulse. We're in our cluster setup. We've got a Chaos Large with Touch Cruelty and Unholy Grace. We do have Unwaveringly Evil as our third, but I don't know if I'm ever going to actually take a third here. We're just kind of crunched for points as it is. And then I've got two of our Ancestral Echo, Ancestral Preservation mediums. I would like to get one of these that has Preservation Sleepless Sentries too. But I gotta take what I can get right now, right? These bases are pretty expensive, like 60, 65C, so I can't just buy an extra base to roll on right now. Otherwise, the tree looks fairly similar to like Freezing Pulse totems and what I had originally in the first Path of Building. I made a few changes. Path of Building did update this evening, just before I recorded this video. So in the description of the video, I'll probably put a link to a slightly more updated PoB. You can see I have like Amplify here right now. The reason for Amplify is that so I'm currently running regular volley in my 5 link, and I would like to add concentrated effect to this. The base radius of Forbidden Rite itself is like 8, and Conk effect reduces it down to 6. And we don't really want to lose much radius. It's small enough as it is. We want as much overlap as possible. But Conk effect is really powerful, and because it is such a small base radius, it's not too hard to make back. So these 2 points in Amplify here for 20% area will basically cut the penalty of Conk effect in half. So it'll only go from 8 to 7. You could go back up to base with another like 23%. You can't just take like blast radius and get back. You would have to take like both of the area nodes here. So I'm still thinking about whether there's any value in actually doing that with skill points. For example, we could come down like this way and then connect to Annihilation here. This way we don't... we get like all 3 of the area nodes here for 30%. That would actually push us over the breakpoint. We can't just do like this and this, because this is not an area of effect node for some reason. But anyway, Path of Building has been helpful. I haven't had time to sit down and go through tons and tweak things, but for the most part, when we were looking at it, things were about as expected. We probably won't be running added chaos. The damage effectiveness is not good enough in Forbidden Rite, I think, to ever justify that. Later on, endgame stuff, I think within the next couple of days, I'll have some more refined endgame type PoBs. And Zerfi's Heart is looking pretty juicy for endgame stuff. And running that would open up hypothermia in your main links. You won't necessarily need something like Volley or GMP or like Awaken GMP. You'll get the 2 projectiles from Rain of Splinters, and you can get a 3rd from a Helmet enchant. Although obviously, you know, we would like to have Vreedy's Veil eventually, and getting one with a particular Helmet enchant is never good. I'm sure the Vreedy's Veil that has like +1 projectile for Forbidden Rite is going to be absolutely ridiculous in terms of cost this league. But we're actually hitting pretty decent damage values without Vreedy's, right? Like it's pretty easy to get over 1 million per totem with the Kikuzaru setup. And we'll go run. Let's walk and talk here. I have like a tier 10 Drox I gotta go do. I'm not gonna roll this one. Despite this being a video, this is a pretty important sale, so let's go ahead and sell this. But the single target has been absolutely no problem for this build. The only thing I think we're gonna wind up having to solve is clear. We'll clear in like defenses while clearing. That's gonna be like the main things we wind up dealing with. Kind of like an inverse of Freezing Pulse builds, you know. Your clear is sort of inherently sorted by running Freezing Pulse totem, and then you're sort of solving for single target. This is a barren map, and unfortunately barren mobs are much more dangerous when you're not freezing everything, right? I would say the barren mobs actually in particular have been one of the most dangerous things I've come across. Like, this is just a white map even, and they're doing it. Oh, this is also worse because there's goatmen here actually. And the goatmen, I don't know if you read the post today from Chris Wilson on Reddit, but the goatmen are definitely like pretty overtuned because of the Act 1 changes. You know, they're part of the Act 1 mobs, and those changes did affect like the map-based types of them. So be pretty careful around any maps that have goatmen because they do a lot of damage in maps. We'll go ahead and we'll not pick up that Chaos Orbital, it's covered in mines. I think we'll just do like a quick look over anything interesting. I guess we'll go ahead and pull for runic monsters on this one. Sure. Doesn't look like there's any particularly juicy packs of runic monsters here. As far as the league goes, so I'm enjoying playing Forbidden Rite. I'll probably gear this out, you know, get it through Cirrus and Maven at least, and invest a fair amount into it and see what kind of damage numbers and things we get. I still don't know if I'm going to write a guide for this. I don't know if I'm enjoying it to the extent that like I really want to put that much time into the build like I did for Freezing Pulse. Like I don't think I like this build quite as much as I enjoyed Freezing Pulse prior to this patch. And we'll probably actually roll up a Freezing Pulse Totem character whenever we're done, you know, and satisfied with where Forbidden Rite is, and get a sense of how it actually compares. I have a feeling I'll probably still like enjoy playing Freezing Pulse more than this, just because it's so much more comfortable to clear on. And I think solving for a single target's not really too big of a deal with the Ice Spear swaps, even though I don't really enjoy doing that. I think I'd probably still enjoy the build. But you can see like the single target is pretty fine. Like there's like one totem hitting that guy. He's not gonna live for very long. And we're still in a 5 Lincoln King Zaros. And there's a lot more we could do damage-wise, right? My wands they're definitely better than before. I think I bought this one for like 5C and put crit multi on it, and then I bought this other one from Lolo for a few C. Otherwise, most of my gear, I have like slightly better gloves. Helmet's the same, and the boots are the same. The belt is the same. Oh, and I think we actually upgraded our amulet a little bit. This was like a 5C amulet, and I threw Primal Manifestation. This is a really cheap anointment, and it's really powerful because it's 30% totem damage and 30% life. I believe this is like, yeah, Amber, Verdant, Crimson. It's really cheap. It should probably only cost you like, I don't know, 3 or 4 chaos to anoint that. So at the moment, I'm not really having too many issues. You saw on that map though, like, especially with barren mobs, you can get lit up pretty easily if you're not careful, and it's obviously gonna get worse because I did hit, you know, my Uber lab. It was actually after stream today, so that was with Divine Guidance. I do think that eventually when we'll be able to afford Asenath's Gentle Touch, or whatever the Asenath gloves are that do like temporal chains and blind, I think I'm gonna want to work those into the build eventually. You know, whether I go Xerfes or not in the endgame setup, I think those gloves are going to be really valuable. And just instead of using your second curse for something like Assassin's Mark for damage, I think just trying to put temp chains on everything, except for like single targets, right? Because I think you need corpses to apply. But yeah, things are going pretty well. We haven't had any amazing drops. I was trying to find a logbook so that we could do a logbook for today's progress video. I literally have still not found a single logbook since the first one in Act 3. I don't know if there's something wrong with the drop rate or they're meant to be that rare. The league mechanic feels pretty dry right now. between the lack of reroll currency besides the gamble vendor and the absolute just dearth of logbooks. I feel like I'm only getting to engage with it in maps, and in maps I'm just getting a bunch of artifacts that I can't use because I can't reroll the vendors. So I feel like they've got some tweaking to do there before that gets into, you know, I still feel like I kind of enjoy the fiddly part. You know, when I'm not recording a video, I kind of like plotting out my detonation path, and I really want to do more logbooks because there's just like, there's lots more detonation planning in those, but I just can't. I just can't engage with the mechanic right now. I'm basically just doing Atlas progression rather slowly, as you might have noticed. I'm like just getting to reds tonight, like a 61 completion or something. But it's not the build's fault. It's mostly just my my meandering. I do have 70C, especially after that sale we made on video. I'm not actually 100% sure right this second what I'm going to put that into. I might actually snap up some more Xerfe's Heart cards and try to get that done soon so I can mess with that some more. But yeah, build's going great. I think if you're looking to play this build, it's a really easy to scale skill for a totem. And so if you're looking for a totem skill that is pretty good at nuking bosses but doesn't have like totally trash clear, this is a pretty good alternative to something like Divine Ire. I think this is probably even easier to scale single target. Stormburst actually looks like it might be a similar skill to this. I want to try Stormburst totems this league too, to see how it fares, because I think that skill, that buff they gave it in the patch does look pretty small, where it gets like more radius. It's only like a couple radius, but just like with Forbidden Rite, it only takes a couple radius for, you know, how many of those spheres are detonating and how fast they are to get lots more overlap. So the single target of that skill should be pretty absurd at the high end. So it's possible that that is another candidate to look at. But yeah, I'm enjoying the league. I'm trying to. I feel like the league is making it hard for me to enjoy because it just doesn't let me actually play the logbooks, and the patch itself is like, there's a readjustment going on, right, between the amount of like movement nerfs and the flash nerfs, and you know, the amount more of like the freezes you take. They seem like they're going to be pulling back a little bit on the mana nerfs, which is good, and trying to pull back a little bit on the amount of freeze in particular by increasing like the amount of freeze immunity you get when you remove a freeze effect with a flash. But we'll see. I have a feeling still that this is going to be a pretty unpopular league, unfortunately, but at the same time, there's a lot of things I want to experiment with, just because you know, Freezing Pulse was kind of stamped down to the mortal level of totem builds, so I want to get in there and re-explore all of our spell totem options and see what I think is the best on the market again. It might still be Freezing Pulse, honestly, with an Ice Spear Swamp, but I'll probably be spending the next couple weeks, I have a feeling, kind of sifting through them and seeing what I like the most. Anyway, if you got any questions or you want some advice, you can swing by the Twitch channel when I'm live at twitch.tv/WallachTV. I'll be streaming starting, I try to start around 2 p.m. I couldn't do that today, but typically I'll try to start around 2 p.m. normally. You can also swing by the Discord. I'll put a link to that in the description if I'm not around or you just want more people's advice. There's a lot of people playing Forbidden Rite totems in the Discord right now, so you can get plenty of advice if I'm not available. I'll probably be making these videos every other day like this. So I will see you guys on Tuesday, I guess. Peace.